Welcome to the next session, addressing the elephant in the room, a blueprint to achieve product and engineering harmony. We're excited to have you all here to discuss for the next half an hour how can tech leaders prioritize new product developments and deliver scalable products, and how they manage to keep a balanced relationship between product and engineering. In this fireside chat, I have with me 3 top-level executives who will share their experience, and I'm going to introduce them right away. I have with me Mr. Iasonas Antonopoulos. Hi, Iasonas.
Hi.
Head of Vodafone Business Product and CEO of Vodafone Innovus, a subsidiary of the telecommunication company which is at the forefront of pioneering end-to-end IoT solutions. I have Mr. Christos Pateritsas. Hi, Christos.
Hello.
Head of Software Development at XM, one of the largest forex brokers in the world. And Mr. Alexandros Papas. Hi, Alexandros.
Hi.
Chief Experience Officer at Novibet, one of the biggest and most recognizable betting companies in Greece and also in 10 countries. Keep in mind that at the end of our discussion, we will have time, there will be time for the audience to raise a few questions. And now let's proceed. To start our discussion, I would like you to describe the current state by telling me what are the most common sources of tension between product and engineering. You want to start, Iasonas?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for inviting me and being here. Now, to your question, I think that the most common sources of tension are the lack of clarity, definitely the lack of strategic vision, and this is something that modern leadership is not investing enough. You see there are people that are continue either micromanaging or being too operational on their level. And apart from that is, I think, the lack of adaptiveness, let's say, that agility came to respond to this question, and it became what it became. Sometimes we're going to the dark forces or the dark paths of agile, but the lack of adaptiveness in a continuously changing environment, whether it's a requirement, a budget, a market condition, is what keep people frustrated. That's my short, let's say, answer.
In your experience, Christos, do you agree?
Yes. First of all, also, thank you for the invitation to be here. So to add to what Iasonas said, I would say to the strategic vision that you said, to us it translates to prioritization, so priorities, roadmaps. This is a common thing, a discussion. So we need to focus more on establishing concrete roadmaps, depending on the business, as much as we can. One other thing is estimations. So this is also a common tension. I wouldn't say tension, but the engineering tends to provide estimations given the requirements that they have. Estimations are challenged, but how you challenge something, it's always a thing. And the last thing I would say would be complexity. Depending on the business, and our business has a lot of complexity because we operate in almost in every country in the world with different regulatory authorities, different audiences and all this stuff. And so that creates a complexity in the business, and that complexity is obviously depicted in the systems. Okay, but there are tiny little things that when the business comes and say, we want to do this or that, they generally look the big picture. And obviously, that's the good thing. This is, the big picture brings the revenue to the company, but then the developer has to address all the tiny things, exceptions, details, things here and there, because the system has to take into consideration all of this. And so he brings these details into the discussion, and there is a tendency from the tech to exaggerate on the importance of these details, while on the side of the business, maybe they don't care so much because these details, business-wise, they do not really, in some cases, matter. So there is also that aspect that sometimes creates, let's say, a friction.
Thank you very much. And what about you, Alexandros? Novibet is also a company that operates in 10 countries, so you have the same opinion?
Correct. Apart from the strategic view that has been mentioned already, on a more, let's say, day-to-day level, one of the sources of tension is the misalignment of expectations. I would say the product team has thought of a solution, they wanted the way they have thought about it, and they wanted ideally yesterday. On the other hand, the engineering teams need to build this. They need to make sure that this is something feasible. Can it be developed within a reasonable time frame or not? And whether this solution would be something that will be robust. Will it be able to handle volumes? Will it function under stress and so on? So these, let's say, these two drivers, having also on top the mindset of the engineering that they should have of challenging the business need, there is a misalignment there that product wants something, they want it now. Engineering needs to make sure that this is feasible, that can be delivered, really soon, and that it is something of value. And there is, a conflict of different viewpoints. I would say the solution to that is to involve, the product team needs to involve the engineering team during the product discovery phase. That's I would say, the solution to that. Make sure that everyone is involved from the beginning. The product teams need to say, I have an idea, this is the problem I'm trying to address, this is what I have thought about as a solution, what do you think? And kick off a discussion to find a solution that would, satisfy both sides.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. You gave me a very good point of view to continue, because I would like to pass now to proceed to the next topic, which is communication, as you mentioned, and also collaboration and tools that may be useful to this. So, Christos, I will start with you now, and I would like you to tell me what communication strategies have you found most effective in fostering transparency and understanding between product and engineering?
Well, pretty much you answered your question by saying transparency. So what I think works is being transparent from both sides. So when you have a new product feature, a product request, whatever that is, I would say from the product side, the product needs to explain to the engineering team why this is important, why we do this. I mean, this is a thing that we tend to overlook. The engineers are not just writing code. I mean, they write better code, they deliver faster if they understand the rationale behind something. So they can understand the business up to extent, so give them that, being transparent. And that works from the other side. I mean, when you, as an engineer, you ask to do something and you respond with an estimation or a complexity about implementing something, you have to explain a little bit yourself why this will take so much time. Maybe in some cases you say, okay, this is technical, they will not understand. Okay, yeah, obviously some details will not be understood, but this doesn't really matter. I mean, you have to be transparent, explain your problems, because you are going to face some problems, what you miss, what you would like from the product to bring early on in the discussion, and all of this stuff. So as much transparency as you can embrace, I think it's better. And in order for this transparency to be achieved, one way would be to bring these two teams as closer as possible. So from the inception of an idea or a product or whatever, even to the execution. I mean, the engineering team has to participate in the product design as much as they can, and deliver their feedback. And the product has to be there when the engineering team implements the product. So a close day-to-day, if possible, or a frequent collaboration, meetings, they have to feel like being one team. And that will build the transparency and the trust between the two parties. And eventually, we will avoid friction, tension, and things will be smoother.
Thank you. I see common ground here. And Alexandros, you mentioned communication earlier. I would like you now to tell me, how do you ensure that both product and engineering teams are aligned on prioritization project goals? And if you use any tools or processes or frameworks such as Agile, Scrum, KPIs, or KRs, whatever it is, to ensure that?
Okay. Definitely, for me, communication is key. Communication needs to be transparent, it needs to be near constant, near instant, and communication needs to be over-communication. What I mean is transparency, we talked about that. Both sides need to be very open-minded and very open to the limitations and obstacles they face. What are the deadlines from the side of the product? What are they trying to achieve? Regulatory reasons, commercial reasons, and so on. Engineering side should be transparent with the limitations, let's say, of the platform, the infrastructure, what can be done, what are the skills of the team, what is achievable, what is not, availability of resources, and so on. And whenever there is a change in circumstances, dates change, product needs to inform engineering. We run into bugs, issues, technical, whatever, engineering needs to inform product. The thing is, we need to avoid the waste of effort. We don't want either side, wasting effort and going down solutions that will not work. And again, also over communication. We need to share everything. Whatever we think or may not think of that it makes sense to share it anyway. You never know what an idea, what you share, what an idea it may trigger from the other side, and so on. Now, as for tools and methodologies, I don't have specific suggestions. Whatever works for the organization, it depends on, what feels right, what has been working so far. If something doesn't work, change it, throw it away, adopt something else. Tools and methodologies are there to accommodate the other things that we talked about. So it's more important on how and the approach rather than the tools.
Okay, so being agile in the tools and processes. Iasonas, what about you? Do you agree with the previous speakers? And if regular cross-functional meetings play some role in your strategy to maintain harmony between these two teams? And also, how do you handle changes?
Okay, first of all, yes, I agree, because we are saying simple things here, the things how to achieve them in your day-to-day operational backlog. What I need to stress out here is that communication is, for me, underrated. It's very important, and it starts from knowing the cultural patterns of an organization. Communication is to, move information. We also are in the informatics world, which means that we know how to handle information from point A to point B. So if the point B is not listening because he has a bad or sad day or whatever, we need to sense it, understanding. So, communication is definitely about understanding the parties involved. Now, to your question about the cross-functional meetings, because it was said earlier in this speaker that was previously here, the meetings, whether they're cross-functional or within the unit or whatever, need to accommodate their main purpose. So for me to be able to kind of label the meetings, is it an FYI meeting, is it a decision meeting, is it a collaborative meeting? So we need to work together. It defines the way that everybody will operate. And this is the other part of the communication, the non-verbal. Okay, am I listening enough? Am I responding to emails because I have more important things than to talk with Chris and Alex over the meeting that I have been. So for me, the cross-collaboration meetings are important when they are definitely, let's say, labeled of what is the outcome of them. And throughout those meetings, it is very clear what everybody, how should everybody act. Because a meeting has actors, has the main driver of it, has the one that is seeking for outcomes, has the stakeholder, it can be various. But if it is left to its own devices, so no agendas, you can understand whether a meeting is heading towards distraction in its first minute, I would say, by if everybody's on time or not. So,
Okay, so not another meeting that should have been an email and give a purpose to the meetings. Okay. Having heard of this, let's switch to mutual understanding of priorities, also mentioned in your previous answers. And Iasonos, I will start with you now to tell me what cultural values do you believe are essential for fostering a good relationship between these two teams?
Okay, first of all, because we all used the word transparency in our phrases, this is again an underrated statement, because transparency means that it is okay for me to expose my agenda to you. And agenda in the Greek company world is a bad thing. It exists on a day-to-day. Everybody has an agenda, whether it's personal or company. So transparency means that I have the safety of exposing my agenda, okay? So it is very important in the cultural values, everybody to understand that companies are there to make money, unless we're working in a, let's say, a non-government company that's doing a benevolence thing or not. So it is a machine, it's an organization that at various scales, whether it's a Scrum team, an operational team, they need to produce value, and this value needs to be translated into money. So again, transparency and openness, feeling safe to open the agenda. The mission of the company, which is again a leadership thing, very important to be open in the air. And the other part are the cultural values of the company. Now, the cultural values of the company, still, it's not an easy thing. It's easy to express it in a sentence, but it means many different things for companies. If a company doesn't have cultural values, it states something about it. If a company has cultural values and they're there, somebody can decide whether he would like to join or not. So I urge everybody, when they're having a discussion with a future employee, to ask for it, because it states a lot about this organization.
Very useful tip, please.
Are you into job seeking?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Christos, how can leadership facilitate a culture of mutual respect and collaboration between these teams? Is that path?
Yeah, I would say that there are two things that you have to cultivate in your teams. I mean, one of them is trust. Okay, so each team has a different domain and a different purpose inside the organization. Okay, you have to trust that the other team, the product team, or vice versa, the product engineering, that they will do what they will be asked to do and what they are paid to do. Okay, and they are the experts on this or that. So you have to trust them. Obviously, that trust is not blind. I mean, obviously, both teams, both sides, and that applies to every, let's say, cross-functional combination inside the company. You might talk with engineering and security and business, whatever. You don't blindly, obviously, trust. You have to feel comfortable to express your feedback and, your concerns. But in the end of the day, the other team is responsible for something. They have the ownership. So you have to trust them that they will provide whatever is necessary. And the second thing I would say that you have to pass a message that of a concept that I call, let's say, professional empathy. So you have to be open to sit in the other person's position. So you have to try to understand that they have challenges that might be different from your own, okay, and objectives that, in the end, everything consolidates to the business values and delivering value, as you said, Iasona. But for different teams, this means different stuff. Okay, so you have to give the opportunity to the other side to express their concerns, their challenges, their objectives, and even if you don't fully agree with their view on things, it's their view. And as I said before, you have to trust that and say, okay, now that I see the other side of the things, I understand why you are asking and for what reason and what's the pressure on this, on that. So I will, that doesn't mean that I will not share my concerns or, all these things, but I am feeling you, and we will work on this together to achieve the common goal. So yeah, trust and understanding the other's, let's say, position and view on the things.
Mm-hmm. Alexandros, what's your opinion on this? And do you use any metrics, for example, in Novbet to ensure the harmony between these two teams? How do you see it?
Okay, so you could use metrics. The collaboration between the product team and the engineering team has the aim to build something, a product for the consumer. So let's say one set of metrics could be used to measure the speed of delivery, whatever that may be, sprint velocity or whatever else. You could also have metrics that relate to the quality of the work of the code being delivered and what is being built. Let's say this is the initial level of a set of metrics that could be used to assess the collaboration of the teams. I would say that we should go beyond that. It's not a matter of output, it's a matter of outcome as well. So you should be using business metrics. The aim of building a product and a solution is to address and have an impact on business results. Customer satisfaction, revenues, and whatever else may be relevant. However, I would prefer to use another kind of set of metrics that has to do with, let's say, the team morale, product and engineering, and the way they collaborate. I mean that the teams could be delivering, but they may not be happy. There may be, friction. There may be resentment. They may be simply pissed at each other and not work well. I would say you cannot measure that, of course, it's not a proper metric, but the degree of excitement when collaborating with each other, this is, to me, an ideal metric. If they're having fun, working well together, growing together, and delivering what they need to deliver, this is great.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. I think we've said enough about the present. Let's proceed to the future. Have a look at the future now. And Iasonas, what emerging technologies do you believe will impact the relationship between these two teams in the near future? Are there any?
I will not fall in the trap and use the Gen AI word that's going to substitute.
Not?
No, I'm not going to do it. No. So what I'm going to use is from a more close to reality example of the remote work, because if you see what we're using now, it defines the way relationship. We sometimes do not see the other person in 3 dimensions, or we see him in 3 dimensions. He's shorter or taller than we thought. So I will say that at this point, all the technologies used that intervene in the way we communicate and produce work has defined definitely the way we have been working. Now, whether there are tools that are going to do the work for us, I said it, Then, but I said it from the back door. Yes, there's going to be definitely a change in there, but as long as we are in the human business, so we need humans to work in this box that's called a company, and it's not run by an algorithm, there is going to be change of roles. So my point would be that the tools and the technologies, they are the means to achieve something, either now in the COVID era or in the remote working era, it's achieved to work somewhere and produce our value. We need to understand where technology is leading and what would be the impact of it to our work. Mm-hmm. So Gen AI, there I said it, is a tool. We need to understand it, but still, as far as we're usable, we need to understand what are the different dimensions we need to work through our mind, because let me close with Albert Einstein's quote that the imagination is far more valuable than any technology or any idea. And this is so far a human thing.
I totally agree with you. Iasonas, I don't know about you, if you agree. And I would also like you to tell me, how do you envision the roles of product and engineering will change, will evolve over the next 5 to 10 years?
I will fall also in the trap and mention AI. This is indeed a very powerful tool that can be used in many ways. However, I will believe, in going back to the initial question, I believe this will cause friction as well. The over-reliance on AI will cause friction between product and engineering. The product teams will expect the engineering teams, to use AI to create code instantly, code of good quality and effective. And on the other side, the engineering team will expect the product team to use AI to do magic and create magical products that will, increase customer satisfaction, drive revenues up, and so on. So that's my view.
Mm-hmm. And Christos, what about this? And
yes.
also, I want you to tell me, what advice would you give to other organizations struggling to achieve harmony between these two teams? And your thoughts about Gen AI.
Well, yes, obviously, I will start with that and try to address it pretty quickly. Gen AI will affect the work we do and how we do it a lot in a lot of domains. I will not expand on that because that's not the topic, because I think it will not affect how the two teams, specifically the engineering and the product, collaborate. I mean, all the things that we said about transparency, communication, and all these aspects, it's not the ones that Gen AI will, at least the AI in general, will affect in the immediate future. So the problems or the solutions that we discuss, I think it's cultural, it's procedural on a level to an extent, and technologies are a tool maybe to facilitate some of them. As you said, Iasonas, in a remote working, you need communication technologies or some strategies how to communicate more effectively. But in the end, it's not a technology problem. So I don't think that the emerging technologies will affect a lot this topic. And my advice, which is I pretty much said it before, would be try to make these teams as much as possible one team, okay, to feel like they are one team. Obviously, this has challenges. I mean, when you bring people that do different work in one team, you have to respect their time, what they are, their goals, and you have to work on this, let's say, collaboration to be effective, but you have to try to bring them together.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, all of you, for your thoughts. Now we are at your disposal, and you have 5 minutes to address any questions you might have. Don't be shy, please. No one? Come on, guys.
Speechless.
I get paid by the questions. Please ask something.
We covered it all.
Okay, I think so. We covered you. Thank you.
I want to add.
If you want.
I want to add one or two things since you're not asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Final closure from three of you.
Everybody maybe can make a final statement. First of all, I need to make an observation. Okay, so agility came. Actually, it was very, very much commercialized 20 plus something years ago, while it has been in the grounds for 20 years. So it is, let's say, it's a proven methodology of 40 years. Now, that means 4 generations almost, so now it is outdated just by figures. We are still in the position where we are collaborating with the new working force, and apart from the roles, we need to add that also in the equation. So there's a cultural gap due to the digitalization with the people we collaborate, because in some years they might be our managers. So we need to throw that in this equation. So my point is that if we're talking about the product management role and the evolution of the product management with engineering, I see it very much colliding, converging, sorry. Because at this point, the tools are in the hands or either a developer to understand better and do the market research and be a product manager, and vice versa. So I see, this, because at the end of the day, they both want to provide something useful. One by being closer to the market conditions and the market and the insights of the customer, and the other more in the production line. I see that, and I'm very thankful for technology doing that, because that means that you can start your own company just by, acquiring 2 or 3 or 4 tools and producing software, where back in 10 years from now, you need to find a freelancer, find some budget, do the right requirements, have your site, then have your application. The world was more complex. So we need to be thankful for that. The fact that we are in 2024 and we're still discussing about product and engineering and harmonization, this is our problem. Okay, it's a human problem. So we need to understand that and throw that also in the equation. That's my overall.
So we hope next year at the same summit, not to discuss
my
about
digital self,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
digital twin is going to sit here.
Christos, do you want to add something? Or?
No, not really. I think we covered all the things, and I will just agree with the last thing. It's a human problem. I mean, it's a cultural problem, as I said before. So, yeah, regardless of the technology or the methodology itself, I mean, if it is agile or whatever, these are just tools that you have to adapt and change the culture that you work. That's it.
Okay, and you, Alexandros?
Definitely a people issue, and I would also stress it is more of a millennial people issue now. With the younger generations, I believe they need to handle it and come up with solutions that would, fit their own needs and way of working and thinking, and then pass it along to the next generations.
We need to handle it. They're more than us. We're not millennials.
Sorry, I am.
Sorry.
I'm not.
The funny thing is that I was in a meeting. I'm going to close that. I was in a meeting trying to convince the management team, at one management team, of doing a restructure with tribes and all that stuff. I have not said that Agile is not working. We're using it 100%. Okay, just statement. So I was drained out trying to convince the management. They were kicking back for, why should we do it? Why we should change our structures? And there's this guy from engineering, very, very nice guy, say, hey, all this time that Iason is trying to convince you, I've been posing the questions you've been posing to him, and he's trying to respond to ChatGPT. There's a pause in the room, say, would you like to hear the answers? I said, definitely, because technology has always been on my side. It can't go wrong. Say, okay, what are the answers? Pretty much he answered what Iason because he was, looking around the tribe models, Spotify, let's say, so the answers were quite obvious. But at the end, in every response, he said, the machine said that, but apart from that, you need to start doing things rather than thinking of them, and you will find it along the way. And I said that, that's why I come up to the fact that I prefer working with technology directly and not with humans, because we tend to kick back too much.
Yeah, and that's a very good ending, I think. Thank you very much, all of you, for being here. And stay tuned for the next sessions. Thank you, guys.